Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about projectile motion. Okay. So projectile motion is an example of motion in 2D plane where acceleration is constant. So there are two conditions. It's a motion in plane that is two-dimensional and acceleration is constant. Okay, so you must have encountered projectile motion in your daily life, like whenever you go to play, you throw a cricket ball, or you hit a football, or you go out and throw stones if you want. So you encounter projectile motion all the time. So what is projectile motion? It's basically when you are close to Earth and you're close to Earth and you throw something obliquely, say at an angle theta, the motion, the path it covers is called as projectile. The path covered is called as projectile motion, and the body itself is known as projectile. Okay, so today we are going to understand the physics of projectile motion. We will derive some equations and find out some properties of like what would be the maximum height and how much time the flight of this projectile would take and such things, and we will solve a few basic simple questions. That's the agenda for the day. So let's jump right into it. Since it's 2D motion, let's make a coordinate axis and try to understand this mathematically. So let horizontal axis be x and vertical axis be y, and let's have this as origin 0 0 and this as some coordinate r 0. Okay, so in this system we have a projectile at origin. It was thrown with a velocity v, that is initial velocity v, at an angle theta. So this theta is known as angle of projection. Now it is thrown at an angle theta. This traverses like this. This particle goes on and it reaches a maximum height. Then it falls back and covers some distance in x direction. Okay. So how to analyze this problem? To analyze this problem, we can break this 2D system, that is this projectile motion is happening in xy plane. We can break this motion into two axes, like how this motion is happening in x direction and how it is happening in y direction. Then once we have broken this into two axes, that is x and y direction, we will be able to solve for various, like we will solve how much time it takes and all. Okay, so let us see what's happening in x direction. So earlier on, as I mentioned, this projectile is near Earth and it has a gravitational force. This projectile is facing a gravitational force, and the acceleration due to gravity is g. We assume that this acceleration due to gravity is constant throughout this motion. It's not that g would change over here. G is same throughout. As we mentioned, one of the condition is acceleration is constant, and there is no acceleration in x direction. Okay, only g is there and it's constant. Okay, so let's see. So in x direction, if you consider velocity, initial velocity in x direction, initial velocity. So initially we had this velocity v, which was at an angle theta with horizontal. So when we break it into two components in x and y direction, in x direction we see the component is v cos theta. In y direction the component would become v sin theta. Okay, so in x direction the component of velocity is v cos theta. Okay, let's write it here. The initial velocity in x is v cos theta. Acceleration in x direction. As I mentioned, only acceleration over here is gravitation, which is working in minus y, that is negative. There is no acceleration in x direction. So acceleration in x is 0. For y velocity, we see initially y velocity is v sine theta. So initial y velocity is v sine theta, and acceleration in y direction is minus g. Since positive y direction is towards the top and acceleration is working downwards, so acceleration would be given by minus g. Okay. So once we have established our initial conditions and all, let us see what is physically happening. We see from here that x velocity, because of 0 acceleration, x velocity will not change anywhere in the motion. Sorry, anywhere during the motion. So when particle is here, x velocity would still be v cos theta, that is v cos theta. When particle is at the topmost position, since there is no acceleration in x direction, x velocity will still remain the same. So it's still v cos theta. Over here also v cos theta. Similarly, when the particle reaches at the bottom, right before it collides the surface, velocity is still v cos theta in x direction. So since acceleration in x is 0, x velocity is always v cos theta, which was initially the velocity of projectile. Now let's look in y direction. What do we see in y direction? We have a acceleration due to gravity, which tries to stop the velocity. So initially, if we have v sine theta, as the ball goes here, the velocity would decrease from v sine theta. If we separately consider this kinematics in just y direction, okay, if you just focus on this, this is similar to a ball which was thrown upward and it falls back. So if you just consider kinematics in y direction, it is similar to a ball which is thrown upward with this uy velocity. It goes up, it reaches this position where its velocity is 0 and it falls back. Okay, if you just consider the motion in y direction. Corresponding to this, over here you see, like if the ball is here, vertical velocity uy would decrease, and slowly decreasing it will reach 0, and then the direction of velocity would change and it will again start increasing, and as it reaches here, velocity will again be minus uy dash. So velocity would be in the downward direction and will be given by minus uy. Similarly, so here velocity is v sine theta. As the projectile moves to this point, y velocity would have decreased. It is corresponding to this position. When it reaches at the topmost position, y velocity would become 0. It corresponds to this. If we consider dynamics in y direction, this topmost position corresponds to this y kinematics in y axis. The y velocity here would be 0. There will be no y velocity. After this point, acceleration due to gravity is trying to pull the ball towards negative y. So some negative y velocity will be attained here. And when ball reaches back to this position, it would have again reached velocity v sine theta. Okay. So if you look at these arrows, so x velocity remains throughout the path. Y velocity initially is in positive y direction. Its magnitude slowly decreases. At the topmost position, y velocity is 0. After that, y velocity is in negative y direction, that's downward. And over here, it reaches back to v sine theta. Okay. This is basic projectile motion, and to solve all these equations, we just have to break this problem into kinematics in two axes, x and y, and we'll be able to solve it. Okay. So we will now obtain some parameters of this problem. So the distance covered by this projectile in horizontal direction is said to be range. A horizontal distance covered by this projectile is said to be range. And also one thing that we can obtain is maximum height. So we can also obtain maximum height attained by this projectile. Another object of interest is how much time does it take for this ball to come back to its final position. Like it's thrown from here, and how much time it takes for this ball to come back to final position. We call that time of flight. We will one by one obtain all these results. So let's go ahead with time of flight. Okay. So as I mentioned, only thing you have to do in projectile motion, you have to break the velocity into two components, x and y axis, and use simple kinematics. So for time of flight, we do the same. If you look the y velocity, initially it is v sine theta, but as the ball reaches at the topmost position, the y velocity has gone to 0. If we are able to obtain, say, time it takes for ball to reach from origin to A, then our task is simple, right? Time the ball takes to go from origin to A would be same as time it takes to go from A to B. Say this point is B. Time it takes to go from A to B. So if we obtain this time, we will be able to obtain time of flight. To obtain this, we use simple kinematics in y direction. Okay, so we know that Vy is equal to Uy Ayt. So from kinematics, we know that final velocity is equal to initial velocity plus Ayt, that is acceleration in y direction into time. So we take two positions, origin and A, and we are taking y components only. So at A, final velocity is 0. Initial velocity at origin was v sine theta. Acceleration is constant everywhere, and it is given by minus g, and time is t. So from here we can easily see that time is given by v sine theta by g. Now this is the time taken for ball to go from origin to A. So time of flight would be 2t. That is time taken for ball to go from origin to B. That would be 2t, and the formula would become 2v sine theta upon g. Okay. So this is your formula for time of flight. In essence, you need not remember it. You can always quickly derive it. And this is the time of flight for this basic projectile motion when it's a horizontal plane and ball is thrown from origin and it comes back to that same plane. Okay, this same axis. Another object of interest is this range. How much horizontal distance is covered in this projectile motion? So for range, we will look into the dynamics in x direction. Deriving range is fairly simple. You already know that your x velocity is v cos theta. There is no acceleration in x direction. So distance covered is basically distance covered in x direction is equal to velocity in x and total time of flight. So this would become v cos theta into 2v sin theta by g. We use the time of flight that we obtain over here and obtain the range of the projectile motion, that is the horizontal distance covered. This can be written as 2 cos theta sin theta v square by g. So again, as you'll see from here, we can write 2 cos theta sin theta as sin 2 theta. Okay, so for further simplifying it, we will get v square sin 2 theta by g. So this is our range. Looking at this, we can obtain some interesting results. When you look at range and you are given an initial velocity, say I am throwing a ball with 10 meters per second. So at what angle, that is at what theta should I throw, that my range is maximum. So if you look over here, to get the maximum range, your v is already fixed, because I have said that I am throwing it 10 meters per second or whatever. So v is fixed, g is fixed. Only thing can change is sin 2 theta. Maximum value of sin 2 theta is 1. So range would be maximum. Range would be maximum when sin 2 theta will be 1. So for range maximum, sin 2 theta is equal to 1. This gives theta is equal to 45 degree. So if you are given a fixed velocity with which you can throw, if you throw at 45 degree, theta is here 45 degree, then you will get maximum range. That is the maximum distance your projectile will cover for a given fixed velocity. Okay. From this we obtain. Again, from the same formula, there is another interesting result. So we know that sin pi minus theta is equal to sin theta. Okay. So if we take some angle phi, say phi, and define it as 90 degree, say pi by 2 minus theta. We have taken some angle phi and defined it as pi by 2 minus theta. We put phi into this, say now we are throwing with some another angle phi. Okay. Initially we were throwing with an angle theta and we got this range, formula for range. Now if we throw with another angle phi, keeping our velocity constant, velocity with which we are throwing the ball, let us see what we get. We substituted in the formula for range. Range would become v square sin 2 pi by 2 minus theta by g. So this will become sin pi minus 2 theta, and this would again give me v square sin 2 theta upon g. So what I did was like this is phi as defined here. So what we can see from here, if we are given an initial velocity, say again 10 meters per second, and we throw a projectile at angle theta, it will cover a horizontal distance r, which is the range, If we throw it with an angle 90 minus theta, that is pi by 2 minus theta, it will still cover the same distance, that is r. So if this was 30 degree and velocity was 10 meter per second, my projectile covered distance r. If I throw it with another angle phi, which is 60 degree, it will again cover some projectile motion and come back to the same position. The range would be same. So these are two interesting results from the formula for the range, which we just saw here. So we obtained time of flight, formula for time of flight, range. Now we will see maximum height. So again, since maximum height is in y direction, we will go ahead with kinematics in y direction as we see here. And what we already know, at maximum height, y velocity will be 0. So using our simple kinematics formula, that is vy square minus uy square is equal to 2ayh. So here vy is the final velocity in y direction, that is, that is 0. Uy is v sine theta, so it becomes v square sine square theta. Acceleration is minus g, and total distance in y direction at this point A is h. So we use kinematics between origin and A. Initial velocity was v sine theta, and final velocity in y direction is 0. Vertical displacement is h, so we use h here, and from here we get maximum height as v square sine square theta upon 2g. Okay, so we obtain formula for these three parameters: range, maximum height, and time of flight. Whenever you encounter questions for these like this, you can either directly use the formula if you remember, or you can quickly derive using kinematics in x and y direction and get the results. Now we will see some example in which we can't use those formulae directly. If you get an example where you have to use that formula, that's easy. Let's see somewhere where we can't use them directly. So suppose you are given an initial velocity 50 meter per second of this projectile. And initial angle of projection is 37 degree. So what would be the angle of velocity vector So if you are given initial velocity 50 meter per second and angle of projection is 37 degree, what would be the angle of velocity vector with horizontal at time equal to 1 second? Say for example, my projectile reaches here at 1 second. So it will have some velocity vector pointing towards such a direction, and from angle theta dash. Initially it was theta, it would have decreased some and some new angle would have formed with horizontal, that is theta dash. My aim is to obtain this theta dash at time equal to 1 second. So to do this, what we'll have to do, we'll have to find out x and y velocity at time equal to 1 second. So this is fairly easy, we'll see. Let us first go in x-axis. So velocity in x-axis is, as you know, v cos theta, that is v is 50, and for this angle theta equal to 37 degree, if you don't know, then these are the angles for a right angle triangle with sides of 3, 4 and 5. This angle is 37 degree, this is 90 degree. So that's why 37 degree angle is used in a lot of problems, because it is fairly easy to obtain, because these are the angles of a right angle triangle with sides 3, 4 and 5. It makes calculation relatively easy. So cos 37 would be 4 by 5. So that is 40 meter per second x velocity. Now we know that x velocity does not change throughout the projectile motion. It remains same at the starting, throughout the motion, it remains same. So at time equal to 1 second, we already know our x velocity. Now we'll try to find out y velocity at time equal to 1 second. To do that, we know our initial velocity and we know our acceleration. So we'll basically use the formula Vy is equal to Uy plus at. Vy we have to obtain, and Ay is, sorry, Uy, that is the initial velocity in y direction, is v sin theta, that is 50. Sin theta we obtain from here, that is v by 5. Acceleration due to gravity you can take as, say, 10. For simplicity of calculation, acceleration due to gravity, if you take 10, this becomes minus 10. Time is 1 second. So y velocity becomes meter per second. So what we see here, we have obtained our x and y velocities at time equal to 1 second. Right? This is Vy. So from our knowledge of vector, we can see that if Vx, we know Vx, if we know Vy, then angle theta we can obtain by tan theta is equal to Vy by Vx. So from this, our theta would become tan inverse of Vy by Vx. So our theta, we can see, would be tan inverse of Vy by Vx. Vy is 20, Vx is 40, that would be 1 by 2. So this is the angle from horizontal that our velocity vector will make at time equal to 1 second. So this is a fairly simple problem, and as you can see, we can solve such problems without using any derived formula, just kinematics in x and y direction. One more thing that I would like to tell you is the path traced by this projectile is a parabolic path. So this curve is parabolic, and in next session we will derive how we can say it is parabolic. Also, before I end this session, I have a few questions for you if you want to go ahead and think about it. So, if I give a system which has acceleration due to gravity and there is a projectile which is charged, say it has q charge, and it is thrown with a velocity v, and there is an electric field E throughout the surface. Okay, there is an electric field E parallel to the horizontal surface. So this is a positive charge Q. So as this charge moves into this electric field, it will experience two forces, QE and mg. Hence, these two forces will give two components of acceleration, E and G. My question is that the path traced by this charged particle, would this be a projectile motion? Would you consider this as a projectile motion? And why? So, is this projectile motion? There is a charged particle Q thrown with a velocity v at some angle theta, and it experiences two forces QE and mg. Would this motion be called as projectile motion? So yeah, that's it for today. I'll wrap this up with simple summary that we started with basics of projectile motion. We discussed that what is projectile motion, where do we see it, and we obtained some standard results of time of flight, range, and maximum height using kinematics. We understood that in a 2D motion we can break this velocity into two components, x and y axis, and hence solve it. Yeah, we also solved a question where we didn't use the formula but our basic kinematic understanding of this problem. And for further, in the next sessions we can work on how this motion is parabolic. We'll identify what is the locus of this projectile, what is this curve. We'll identify the formula for it. Then there are special cases in which projectile motion is from wedges, so we will do that as well. And then we will discuss about the collision of projectile. If there are two projectile motions, when will these two balls collide?